Teyantao bekande, bekande, maha bekande, randa samungade so. 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 Teyantao bekande, bekande, maha bekande, samonga deso teyanda bekande bekande ma bekande randa samonga deso teyanda
Bapak Ibu yang telah berada di ruangan auditorium, mohon kita bersama untuk memperhatikan beberapa hal yang telah kami tampilkan di depan layar. Mohon untuk tidak makan makanan apapun di dalam auditorium, dilarang meninggalkan sampah di dalam ruangan auditorium, wadah aqua cup agar dibuang pada tempatnya di sekitar pintu keluar saat meninggalkan auditorium. Hanya diperbolehkan minum air Guru Dharma kita untuk berada di atas pentas. 7 MHZ. Silakan dipilih di antara dua jaringan itu. Dan kepada Bapak Ibu yang ingin mengundang pemirsa untuk berada di Zoom, silakan langsung ke ID Zoom yang tertera di depan 8999043186 dan juga password Sukawati. Dan tentunya izinkan saya membaca profil dari Rinpoche pada malam hari ini. Yang mulia Neyphug Trulku Rinpoche lahir di Bhutan pada tahun 1980. Welcome, Yang mulia. Ya, thank you. Dan diakui sebagai mendiang Yang mulia Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche sebagai reinkarnasi ke-9 dari Terton Ngawang Drakpa yang lahir pada tahun 1525 hingga 1599 yang merupakan Neyphug Trulku Rinpoche pertama. Dan beliau juga seorang pengungkap penting ajaran berharga Buddhisme Vajrayana. Neyphug Trulku Rinpoche adalah emanasi dari Acarya Yese yang merupakan salah satu dari 25 murid utama Guru Padma Sambhawa. Sebagai profesor studi Buddhis, Rinpoche memiliki pemahaman mendalam tentang filosofi dan praktik Buddhis. Rinpoche juga sudah diundang untuk memberikan pengajaran, kelas, dan pemberdayaan di berbagai negara termasuk Malaysia, Singapura, Australia, Swiss, Hong Kong, dan lainnya. Bapak Ibu untuk mengunjungi atau ingin melihat lebih lanjut profil dari Yang Mulia Rinpoche, silakan langsung mengunjungi di website kami, di website yaitu di www.neyphug.org untuk informasi lebih lanjut tentang kehidupan dan karya Rinpoche. Selanjutnya dengan segala hormat kami mengundang Yang Mulia Neyphug Trulku Rinpoche untuk memberikan sharing.
Check, check. Check. This is on. Oh, it's the other side, not here. Can you switch to this? And is the mic okay with the translation? Can you switch to the projector mode? Ah, okay. Can you all see that? Very good evening, all Dharma brothers and sisters, or all the brothers and sisters. It's just a little sharing of wisdom from Prince Siddhartha. I'm a personally is the mic all right? Check. Can you all hear? Yeah? Good? Can you hear still? Okay. The subject or the idea becoming instead of being with. Right? I think the English word itself explains very well to become and to be with. I struggle a lot personally when people are too religious, when there's no more of just speaking for Southeast Asians, right? We were all follower of Buddha's teaching centuries ago. But now if you look at it, we really don't know if we follow or we just worship. At many times, if you visit any of the Asian temple, it's always seeking, worshipping, and to be with. The idea of becoming is, I think, very small group of Dharma philosopher or a really devout follower of Dharma teaching understand that. And surprisingly, the teaching of the Buddha was born in India, Asia, but many of Westerners generally, and then more educated, highly qualified people exploring the teaching of the Dharma. And but not worshipping, but not to be with the Buddha. But they realize and they understand that we can become one of the Buddha. There are very few highly educated Dharma follower. There are very few Westerners who will just blindly believe in Buddha and surrender to Buddha. And to be honest, I'm really impressed. And that really makes sense. The reason why they follow teaching of the Buddha. Many of us, we follow because this is our tradition. It's a good luck. It's a blessing. Many of us fear what will happen to us when we die. And many of us, there's a guilt, the bad karma. We try to escape, we try to see if there's a way we can exchange or be saved by Buddha. We are never, many of Asians, I'm surprised if 90% of you in this room, you are not inspired by Buddha. Not at all. There's a zero inspiration by Buddha. There's a zero inspiration by teaching of the Buddha. Is that a beep? Maybe I should stop criticizing people. There's an alarm says, stop talking, you are on sojong. Should we change the subject? Change? Is it good? Is the radio okay? Is the radio all right? Is the radio okay now? Not okay? All right then. Is the radio okay? Check, check. Is the radio okay? Is our good-looking translator okay? Check, check. Good? Is it maybe too close? Okay, let's take questions. Those from English speaker. Any questions? Any questions? So we don't waste our time. While you are fixing your device.
Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you.
Selamat malam. Mohon diterjemahkan ya. Yang ingin saya tanyakan, apa tujuan hidup kita sebenarnya? Boleh satu lagi?
The question is, what is the purpose of our life?
What is the purpose of our life? If you ask me, according to Dharma, to become. To become. Once you are on the path of Dharma, is to become a Buddha. That's the main purpose. And it said, only as a human being you can become, not as anybody. We all trying to become something else. All the things we are trying to become is very temporary. Right? You're trying to become a mother, you are a daughter, you become a wife as a woman, for example. Towards the end, you become a grandmother. You are still worried, concerned, there's no happiness. You are worried about your children, you are worried about your grandchildren. Then finally you stop breathing. That is what you become. Right? Doesn't matter whatever you have. Is it now that is the device working now? Is the device working? Is the device working? Oh, not working. Okay, how many of you on the radio raise your hand? Those, oh, there's a plenty of people. Okay. Is it not working? Radio not working? Yes, any questions? Now working? Is the radio working now? Now the radio, yes? Not, now working. Now they said. You must have reset something, I guess. Yeah, good now, right? The radio working now, right? Now working? Maybe try to off your laptop. Is there some, remember, you need a laptop? Oh, maybe put it on the floor. Yeah, because I think there's an interference. Is it better? Is it better? Is it good now? Is it good? Is it coming now? Check. Good? Is it? Check, check, check. Otherwise, okay? Let's do a sleeping meditation. Some already doing. Actually, that's right. While they are fixing, just try to relax a bit. I'm a very practical person. I do not meditate much. And I'll explain to you why. Now everyone okay? All right, so it's about becoming and being with. As I mentioned, there are many educated people exploring teaching of the Buddha because of becoming than being with. And being with is just being a very religious, This is what we are, right? Our parents, our parents, what we do is we just idolize. Which is good sometimes, it's quite simple. Since we're all Asians here, many of your children, many of your siblings, many of your friends have left this worshipping tradition. They have converted to other religion. They have converted to other faith. Not because Buddha's teaching is not meaningful, not because there's no meaning in teachings of the Buddha, because we practice the right practice wrongly. It's the right things we should adopt, but we practice it wrongly. We worshipped, we have so much of superstitious things, like burning joysticks, doing a lot of superficial idolizing practices that even you and your parents could not explain to your children. And if you do not do this, it is a bad luck. If you do this, it's very confusing and very expensive. And what is the end result of that? It's just to be blessed by Buddha. And Buddha mentioned it very clearly in the teaching. I cannot bless anyone, he said. And he also said, I cannot give you a refuge. You are your own refuge. You have to learn how to bless yourself. As in the sutra mentioned, I can only show you the path. If you are in trouble, I can tell you that this is the exit door. You must walk on your own, he said, as I did. I'll just show you how to become like me, how to follow my path. So as I mentioned now, many learned intelligent, wise people explore the wisdom of Gautama, and they mesmerize, they're amazed. There's like, wow, this is something really, really meaningful. It talks about self-important. Because every individual, human being, we need validations, recognitions. We need to prove ourselves that we have the highest ability. But the teaching of the Dharma tells you that, saying you can become a Buddha. You have the potential, he said. You can become a Buddha. And he says, do not be with me, but become what I have became. Right? So religiously what we do, so now you have to question yourself. The path that I'm on, is it I surrender to the unseen, divine, that I cannot talk to, that I cannot see, but I believe that is there. When I die, I be with the Buddha. And many of the Buddhas said, you cannot be with me if you are not enlightened. Religiously, if you say heaven, just by praying, you cannot go to heaven, Buddha said. In Dharma, we call it pure land. You cannot be born into pure land just by praying. You have to become something else. So what is that something? Not a religious person, blind faith, surrounding yourself. Do all the things you do. Never change your attitude, thought process, but just believing in it, making offerings, donations, out of fear, with great desire. We religious people have a lot of fear. And in the religion, in the Buddhism too, right? We use fear. If you do not do this, there will be a bad luck. If you do not do this, there will be a bad karma. Then you are afraid, you are worried. Out of fear, we do what we do. But we never do out of realizations, out of knowing what it is. For example, looking at that image behind me, is this what religion is? This is nothing wrong when you do out of respect, out of gratitude, but not out of fear. I'm not against worshiping. We do worship too. For example, to the Guru we bow, to the Buddha we bow, but not to worship him, but great sense of gratitude that Buddha was enlightened for us and left all the teachings behind, and we are so grateful of his teachings and his presence. Give deep sense of respect. So, I rephrase this. If you just pray, 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 surrender, that Buddha will come to you one day, that Buddha will take care of you everything, that you can be with the Buddha. Your belief is very risk. You will get tired of that. One day the bad luck will fall on you. Bad karma will come to you. You are very religious, always pray, making offerings, donations. Suddenly you have accident. You will throw the statue of the Buddha in the dustbin. You will complain to Buddha, why? Similarly, many religion does that too. Because it's not consistent. We are not talking about afterlife, even this life. We are so devoted, suddenly you feel cheated by Buddha. That's the mistake, or maybe don't say mistake, weakness when you are too religious. Again, when I say religious, blindly believing in something without knowing how it works. You know, out of fear. Fear number one, that there will be a bad luck. There will be problem in your life. So you must be very religious. You should become very religious. Number two, you are worried what will happen to you after you die. This is why you are out of fear, you are so religious. And the idea is just to be with, be it Buddha or someone else. So, I'm not saying this is wrong. But if you, as I mentioned, many Westerners, many learned individuals are becoming more spiritual. All right, what is different between spiritual and religion then? Religion is outward. You look at the statue, you look at guru, you look at the temple. Your blessing is inside the temple. Your blessing is in the guru. You worship, you look out, you surrender. Your control is in the hand of someone else. That is called religion. Spiritual, we still do out of gratitude, but we have to invert everything. This is why in Himalaya, the word called Buddhist is a new English word. There's no word called Buddhist. And actually in Indonesia, you call Buddha, right? I love that part. You know, we don't call Buddhist, we say, I'm a Buddha. When I came first time to Indonesia, I freaked out. Oh, I'm a Buddha. I said, well, what is it? I said, I'm a Buddha, Rinpoche. Wow. But I realized it's such a beautiful way of addressing yourself. More than this, in Himalaya, we call Nangpa. You know, follower of the Buddha, we call Nangpa, meaning inwarding, looking inside. So it's very funny how we address this. Oh, we are insider. What do you mean by insider? Meaning we look inwardly into our consciousness and our mind. We look within. And yes, in the teaching of the Buddha, we seek refuge with Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. As activations, we seek refuge with the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha as a key to activate the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha within oneself. As a gratitude, as a teacher, as our guide, as mentioned in the teaching. Buddha is a destination. It's not a God. It's not a divine. It's an achievement. Dharma is the tools and the path that we use to achieve the Buddha. Sanghas are our friends and companions to help us to travel together safely to reach enlightenment of the Buddhahood. Right? So this is what we call spiritual. And a result and the act of spiritual is not about worshipping, burning joystick all the time. It's about helping hand. It's about kindness. The more religious, more spiritual you become, the more freedom you gain. The more kinder you become. The more wiser you become. As I share with all my friends, since you are on the path, have you become happier? Have you become kinder? Do you have that sense of great freedom? Some of our friends says, oh, we belong to this temple, we cannot go to that temple. After you becoming followers, we follow this master, we cannot follow that master. We are that yana, you are that yana. We are black, this is white. Even followers become so confused. Sectarian, divisions, separations. And it's very less of kind-hearted and helping hand. We see very less spiritual. We see very less of mind that transformed. I repeat, in Himalaya, we address ourselves as a Nangba to transform the inside our body. What do we have inside our body? The entity of the mind. The transformation of our mind is very important. Then we become spiritual. And great sense of freedom. And no fear. Once you have no fear and there's no preference towards your religion, you will respect all the religion. You will respect all the sentiments. You will respect all people, all animals, everything around you. Because you have achieved great sense of freedom. As Gautama said, once you are on my path, you become fearless. This is my favorite. He said, once you are on the path of Dharma, once you're becoming Buddha, you are fearless. As a Dharma follower, we have to be fearless. There are temporary fear, thinking about our life, worry, concern. As mentioned in the Dharma, we are born to die. It's a very temporary life we live. And the short, you may find it very long, but it's a very short life, up to 100 years. And he said, up to 100 years, there's a lot of ups and downs. We call it defect of samsara. There's no such called perfect life. And this is psychologically proven now. In the study, they say hedonic happiness. The hedonic happiness proven, they did the research. Happiness lasts much, much shorter. And it's very temporary. They did the research. When you have new car, new relationship, newborn baby, new home, business venture, it gives you happiness for few hours, few weeks, few days, few months. Then everything will change. Simple English word they use is treadmill happiness. You know, the treadmill, you run so much, but you reach nowhere, you know. Everyone is doing something, but it doesn't give you that kind of joy and freedom. And we also exercise religion for looking for happiness, the treadmill happiness. That's why, have you heard of religion crisis? The religion crisis is, all of us were Buddhists before. Slowly we change to different religion. One after another switch and try to adopt different religion. After some time, things are not that smooth, and you are lost, you are confused. Because you try to gain your happiness by depending on external factor, such as figure, temple, blessing, and these are temporary happiness. Things that you adopt, things that you picked, cannot last too long. Things that are adopted, because we say everything is impermanent. Things will continuously change. When things change, we cannot accept. Then that's when the struggle comes. This is why in Himalaya we say, we do not depend on external factor. We gain wisdom internally as a Nangpa. We examine it ourselves. That is to becoming. As I mentioned, then you have to become. So as the lady here asks, what is the purpose of life? Gautama, Prince Gautama, was a very successful man. None of us can compare his life. Was a prince, was a very good-looking prince, married with the most beautiful girl in the country, had a wonderful son. There were 500 women in the palace to entertain him. He will become the next king. But he still could not find meaning of his life being a prince. Today, when we have a little bit of something, we think, yes, I have everything. Full of ego, you're unkind. And you thought you found your meaning of life. Siddhartha said, there's nothing I envy of what my parent had. Very young age, his mother died. He never got to see his mother. He was very, very sad, even though being successful, rich son. His father was grumpy, very demanding for him to take over. And he saw his father was not very happy man. He has the most beautiful girl as his wife, yet his father tells him to go get another woman. He finds everything so difficult. Compared to his life, what do we have? Right? So then he went outside the palace. 6 years under the tree, he contemplated meaning of his life. And then finally, he become a Buddha. Buddha. Bu is awaken. It's not the gold-plated statue. Number one, it's very important for us to understand the meaning of the Buddha. It's not referring to gold-plated statue. It's not referring to one figure like a god. No. is an achievement, is a title, is something that we all can achieve. So even the word Buddha, Bu meaning awaken, awake. Da is full of knowledge. Right? Few of you right now sleeping, you are not Buddha, right? You know nothing. And there's no Da because there's zero knowledge. Once you are awakened, you see, you hear, you contemplate, you are the Da. We call it flourishing, blooming, prospering, the Da. After 6 years, he became the Buddha. And he beautifully said, I have found that. And Buddha said, either I practice Dharma or do not practice Dharma. It's not I created Dharma, he said. Dharma is always there, even before I become a Buddha, he said. This is beautiful things about Dharma. He said, Dharma have found me. They made me Buddha. It's not that I made the Dharma. We all think, right, Buddha taught the Dharma. No, Buddha said that. Remember this. He says, Dharma made him what he is. And after he enlightened, right, he realized there are many different types of us, such as hell, right, spirit, animals such as insects, right? The tiniest guy that we disregard, mosquito, ant, they are nobody to us, right? Of course, we do love some of the animals. Of course, we love so much, we even eat them, all right? So there is the evolutions how one become a Buddha and who is Buddha, right? So in the teaching, it's mentioned, everyone has the capable of becoming a Buddha. This is the main topic tonight. Don't have to be with the Buddha, but must become a Buddha. What did I say about the Buddha? Awakened one. You know, awake? Another simple word. Oh, I heard you are not well. Are you okay now? Are you feel good? Have you recovered? In the teaching, it says we are sick of our emotions. Everything is not good. Right? My father is not good, my mother not good, my relationship not good, my health not good, this not good, that not good, everything is not good because we are not awakened. So once we are awakened, then we realize that we have gained such freedom. So if you look at this picture, who is Buddha? It's not only the gold-plated statue. Of course, not only also the human, but every beings, we call it sentient beings. Every beings are Buddha. We all can become a Buddha, including little ant and the mosquito. There's a true story about one of the great master, talking about the Buddha nature. When he see a dog sleeping, he would succumb to the dog and bow to the dog. Not because of love for animal, because he respect that divine Buddha nature in that dog. Another word, he will not even abuse a dog or ignore a dog. So there are two types of follower of the Buddha. That we care for all these animals because of bad karma, because of fear. As is, you stop harming others, but act that coming from you is out of fear. But there are many great masters and learned Dharma follower respect everyone because they see this potential of Buddha nature in every individual, including little ant. Of course, that thought process is more sophisticated, but really beautiful. Meaning, this kind of spiritual person do not have any calculations, any desire of karma, fear. As Gautama said, you become fearless. Imagine if you respect animals really because they are divine, instead of feeling sorry for them, very, very inferior, or afraid of karma, right? The quality of self-awareness is much more larger, more beautiful. All right, then if everyone is Buddha, including the ant, beings in the hell, spirits, everything is Buddha, everyone is Buddha, then why, right? Why we are not Buddha then? So this is what Buddha said. Semchen namni Sanghyang yuanchang lobur tima tisel Sanghyang. Buddha taught the first teaching, Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path, as just using fear. Using fear to the little kid. Says, do not eat this, it's a poison. There's a zombie coming. Everyone's scared, you know. Sufferings, avoidance, run, good karma. Then the later Buddha taught about Mahayana, about power of wisdom, Heart Sutra, about emptiness. In the final teaching, he talks about Buddha nature. You all, those who consider yourself familiar with teachings of the Buddha, he turned 3 times, right? He taught 3 major teachings. Gautama, when he was 34, he became a Buddha. Now remember the word. He became a Buddha from a successful prince. From 34 to 81 years old, he was a teacher. He wanted to share his knowledge with the rest of the world. First, he was a very, very wise and kind. He used a very simple proposal. Look at me. I'm happier outside the palace without power, wife, children, wealth. Be like me, run away. Everyone did that. Second time he says, wait. It's not all about running away. Wait and contemplate, examine. Instead of running, if you run, don't know for how long you can run. Instead of running away, try to challenge. Try to really examine. I use a simple philosophy example that we normally share. We call it rope, the rope. a rope mistaking for a snake. They are metaphors. Say in the village, in the place, there are a lot of snakes. And you have the phobia of a snake. And suddenly when you go for a walk, you see a shape of a snake. And the phobia of snake, out of fear, you run. And you tell everyone, run, there's a snake. And you also get more people in trouble, right? So Gautama said, yes, there are snakes. But it's not true. All the time that you encounter a snake, he said. Calm down, relax, contemplate, have a wisdom, torchlight. These days use the phone light. See if it's a really snake or you are mistaking rope for snake. That's the Mahayana. Takes a lot of examinations. We call it Heart Sutra, so on. Anyway, Prashna Paramita, the wonderful wisdom. The last teaching, then Buddha said, you know what? Don't have to do too much. Objective of our life is to become a Buddha, he said. Don't have to run away, don't have to examine it. You are actually a Buddha in potential. Just work on it. Work on it and become a Buddha. And it's not only you. Everyone has the Buddha nature. Have you heard of Buddha nature? This is a beautiful thing in Vajrayana. Buddha nature. The nature, the baby Buddha is in all of us. Male, female, ants, animals, everyone has Buddha nature. Then the question is, why we are not Buddha, right? Because as I just mentioned the sutra, we have too many emotions that is covering the baby Buddha, is under this thick dust of emotions. We call it 5 emotions, right? So we call it poisons, So having such kind of weaknesses, like a cloud of emotions. So in the teaching, the Buddha nature is given on example of sun. Do we get a bad weather here too, right? Sometimes. And you complain, today is a bad weather, there's no sun. 365 days. Every day, morning, latest by 6 to evening 5, sun is always there in every country. Do you agree? Sun is always there. But there are times we do not get the sun because it's covered by cloud. This is what Buddha said. We all have this Buddha nature that is like a sun. But you do not feel this because you are covered with your own selfishness, own emotions, full of anger, jealousy, ignorance, ego, pride, and that habit we call habitual tendency. That habit, that layers and layers, right? Too many layers of those is suppressing it. If it's a file, the most important file is hidden somewhere. There are so many things it's covering, but it doesn't mean we do not have that. So right now, what is the difference between enlightened Buddha and the potential Buddha like ourselves. Only the difference is the cloud. Our Buddha is covered with cloud. The enlightened Buddha is free from the cloud. So this is why not to worship, but to become. Not to be with, but we must tie to. What do you do to become a Buddha? We must clear the cloud. And it takes time, it takes effort. Again, as Buddha said, I can only show you the path. And you know how many teachings he taught? Subject, 84,000 subject. 84,000 subjects. This 84,000 subjects is to remove 84,000 of emotions that we have. We call it defilement mind. Another word, destructive emotion. These emotions are not productive. It's not constructive. This emotion makes you selfish. These emotions make you harm and hurt others and yourself. And we don't feel the sense of freedom. So recap a bit. Why we are not Buddha. How to become a Buddha. Right? And how to clear our cloud. I always say that. Some people take that as often. Wise people will follow a spiritual path. Unwise people will follow religion. You don't have to think too much. You just believe. You just follow. You just surrender. You just worship. More donation you make, more good luck you will have. More respectful you are, the more devout you are, that you will be forgiven, you will be safe, you will be protected. Then it's like a business, right? We cannot even say Buddha is kind and divine. He is corrupted. Buddha will only bless who donate more money to the temple. And it doesn't even make sense. He was a prince. We are way poorer than him, actually. He is such a corrupted prince. He will only bless those who are very devoted to him, regardless of how unkind and kind you are. As long as you believe in him, you are taken care of. That is religion. But spiritual, we are grateful of the Buddha and his teaching and his wisdom. We embrace his teaching. We walk on the path of Dharma with Sangha to become another Buddha, accompanied by my fellow Dharma friends and the teaching of the Sangha, Dharma. With thoughtfulness, with usable mind. Those who are not usable, just one-sided, blindly, it will be difficult for you to for us to become a Buddha. When there is awareness, carefulness, thoughtfulness, then through the teaching of the Dharma, the kindness can arouse. These are the basic quality for you to become a Buddha. Kindness is one of the main key. So another word, someone asked, how do I know everyone has a Buddha nature? Right? Let's go briefly on that. Kindness, compassion, and then it's become, we call it Bodhisattva. Then the Buddha is the progress of another individual human being. For to become a Buddha, you have to begin as a wise person. Those who understand the solutions of the teaching. Based on the kindness, you develop compassion. As mentioned in the teaching, Ninje semda nisu meloda, chanchu semne gesenam giju. Says, cause of Buddha is kindness and compassion. That kindness and compassion will give rise to the Buddha, helps to remove clouds and all the difficulties that we have. As I mentioned earlier, we have ego. People with ego has no kindness and compassion. People with jealousy, do they have kindness and compassion? Do they have kindness to the jealous people? Does angry people have kindness? Does selfish people have kindness? So those cloud of those emotions must remove through kindness and the compassion. That can evolve into bodhicitta and the bodhisattva. Then only from bodhisattva we can become a Buddha, it's mentioned. So, and now there's a baby kindness. Kindness has many different categories. Everyone has kindness, actually, the potential kindness. Let's think of the most terrible person on the earth. First think about maybe animal. Let's think about the spirit. Do you think there's a kindness in ghost? There are kind ghost? Possible? There are kind spirit? At least they will love their own family, right? Then think about the carnival animals, be it tiger, be it any carnival animals. They hunt, prey on other animals to feed their own baby. You know, if it's a light, the kindness is light, compassion, the care. To start to become a full Buddha, we must have to have the seat, as I mentioned, the Buddha seat. This is what we explain in the teachings. Even the carnival animal has the kindness to their children, to their family, and of course, the most terrible person on the earth, there are someone that they love. There are someone that they care. So what I'm trying to tell you is how to look at the sign of kindness. There's not a single person that do not have the kindness. Single sentient beings. If there is a kindness, then it can develop into a bigger, greater kindness, exercise into. That this is the teaching of the Dharma. is like a fire, little matchbox, the match. It can light the entire mountain into fire, right? But we all have this single match with us that can turn into a powerful light to burn all our emotions and help to light entire universe, like a Gautama Buddha himself and all the bodhisattvas. So most of us think we cannot become a Buddha. Buddha is only for those limited individuals, all right? So this is wrong. If you look at it, how to become a Buddha? Anybody with the mind and thought can grow and develop our kindness into compassion. Compassion eventually fully ripen into the Buddha Bodhisattva. Then we become Buddha. And many of the texts, if it's a parents, our grandparent is kindness. From kindness, the Bodhisattva is born. From Bodhisattva, you become the Buddha. Right? Those who are new to it, research on internet. What is Bodhisattva? But if you look at the hierarchies, kindness is the lowest, right? Bodhisattva is lower than the Buddha. Buddha is highest. But this highest post cannot, attainment cannot be attained if you don't have those progressive achievement. Do you understand that? So only through that we can remove our emotions, so-called religiously negative karma. Then one can be enlightened as a Buddha. All right? So this is how progressively it will work, and this is how one will become a Buddha. From a sentient beings. So anyone can become a Buddha, and it is important for us to become a Buddha. If you ask me today, what is your goal, desire, aspiration? To be enlightened as a Buddha. As the lady asked, what is the purpose of life? To become a Buddha. I have Westerners, students and friends. When I ask, why do you want to become Dharma follower? They were in the tear. They said, only the teaching of the Dharma makes sense. I always thought there's something divine about myself, but I was not able to find this. What is it that I can become? Only through teaching of the Buddha mentioned that actually I can actualize the Buddha nature and I can become a Buddha. This is the reason I follow the teaching of the Buddha. This is why I practice, they said. They did not say, it's not singular, a couple of them. Some of them just go their hands together, says, Rinpoche, the Buddha nature. The Gautama's teaching, they're talking about the Buddha nature. Is amazing. I want to achieve that. No fear, no expectation, attitude of hard working, attitude of becoming, right? Even at work. Career-orientated individual. You join the company to become something else. Am I right? you do what you do to become something else, then only you can be successful. Nothing wrong to be with. Many of us has been doing it, but this will take you to at risk. Sometimes our ignorance is too thick, which is good. You believe that you can be with Buddha. And you are Buddha with right now, actually. You have been with the Buddha, but we don't guarantee that you will be happier, that you will be free from problem. But we encourage our disciple and ourselves to become a Buddha. So then, you not only help yourself, you can help others too. And I always remind my fellow friends on the path, we must remember, we must become instead of being with. And for me, if you ask me, why do you follow the teaching of the Buddha? Number one, it makes sense. I want to become something else. I want to become a Buddha. In our exercise, the highest is Buddha, and I can be like him. This is wonderful. It's not that he's always the highest. I am with him, serving him. Nah, I don't want to do that. Our human ego is too much. I want to sit next to Buddha and says like, hello, brother. Instead of like, Buddha, bless me. Right? Secondly, then I can help many because I'm like the sun, free from the cloud. And it also talks about accumulation of wisdom, not karma. Another word to become a Buddha is through accumulations of wisdom that only in the path of Dharma talks about it. How to be kinder, compassionate, enlightened, only through accumulations of wisdoms we can be enlightened. And the path and practice of accumulation of wisdom is taught in the teaching of Dharma. As I mentioned, Mahayana, the Prashna Paramita, the wisdom transcendent. Briefly to tell you, there are 6 paramitas. From 6 paramitas, the last paramita is paramita of wisdom. Wisdom transcendent. Achievement of wisdom. Achievement of awareness. Whole purpose of teaching of Gautama is to accumulate and transform our emotions, ignorant mind into wisdom. That is the objective of teaching of the Buddha. Relatively, you all are young. I recommend you to become instead of being with. It is important for you to look for a spiritual path and try to evolve into. If any of the spiritual tells you that you can become, very good. For me, I only know the way of Dharma. And there's a logic and it makes sense. And it's also quite a lonely, tiring journey because you have to work on your own. Buddha said, I am not your refuge. You have to take refuge with yourself. I can only show you the way. I can only guide you. Only if you ask me, that is. He said, teacher is like a doctor. Your emotion is like a disease. Teaching of the Dharma is like a medicine and the treatment. We have to look for the doctor. We have to get diagnosed. We have to get the treatment, but you have to be a good patient. If you are not good patients, you know 100 doctors, the most expensive doctors. Some of us, we know the most sophisticated temple, most popular master. Then we wow about their power, could read mind. I was told, wow, this is so powerful. In the teaching of the Dharma, it never talks about power. It never talks about miracle. It only talks about love, wisdom, compassion, care, removing suffering of self and others. These are miracles. If you found a teacher who can help you to remove your worries, your sufferings, shine light on your darkness, that is a miracle, as Buddha mentioned. Being on the path, if you have become happier, kinder, softer, the blessing of the teacher is working on you. If you are able to be kind, compassionate, you are on the way. You are becoming. Not when you get better job, not when your wish is fulfilled. That gives you more desire. That gives you more demons. The more we have, the more we want. So, this is a heart-to-heart talk about teaching of Dharma. I know a few of you thinking that is in the wrong room. We need more blessing, Rinpoche. You know, show us miracle. Tell us how to grow. I made an aspiration. My next life, I wanted to be born as a successful businessman, so I can help all my disciples to grow and help fulfill your wishes, to tell you how to be smart. In this life, too late, I'm in my 40s. All my teacher never taught me that. My teacher never even taught me how to recite the mantra of God of Wealth. He never gave me even an advice saying that do this, you will gain something. My teacher always told me, it is okay. It's a dance of samsara. That's all right. Be compassionate. Oh, life is impermanent. Oh, this is how it works. Oh, it's not only you that is suffering. You complain to teachers as, teacher, I'm suffering. Oh, be compassionate. Think of everyone. You are not only one in this earth. There are countless sentient beings who are worse than you. I have to share this with you all. I was younger, so I went to ask my guru. I closed the door. I want to get the secret recipe. Guru, give me a teaching that is so powerful, I can help people, And he looked at me, must be finding it very funny, the young boy, right? Closed the door very respectfully. Oh, he said. And I was like, wow, I will get it. How to be powerful. Be kind, he says. Kindness. Be kind. Kindness is the key for everything. Be compassionate. And my expression was like, that is simple. All the teaching has been telling me that. All my class teachers, all my book tells me that. oh, I went, oh, we call lasso, it's like, oh, I see. Back of my mind, I say, anything more? And he loves to give things to us. Then there's a people offer Hong Pao, right? This money, and he give me some money. Yeah. And this is still very vivid. But as a young Tulku, because many people would come to us child worshipping, right? They worship us, they're, I have pain here, or I have a bad dream. Remember, recently someone came to me and asked, when should I get pregnant? I was like, definitely, I said like, sorry, when should I get pregnant? I said, where's your husband? I said, actually, you should ask him, not me, right? So I just want to tell that. I was telling my guru, when should I get pregnant? Tonight, 11:45 minutes, 40 seconds. Okay? Your head direction towards that. And next to you have a glass of water and I don't know what else. Done the recipe. Rinpoche, how to grow my business? Wait, What is the percentage I'm getting? Right, Indonesia, first time when I come. Many auntie came to me with their beautiful daughter. And the standard questions? And most of them do not speak English, right? Then translate. And simple thing they can ask is, oh, Rinpoche, my daughter when marry? I said, again, I'm not going to marry your daughter, right? When marry? I said, is she seeing someone? Not yet. I said, it's a long story then, First get boyfriend, then maybe you ask the boyfriend instead of asking me. I mean, it's absolutely fine. That's a human error of worshipping religion. There's not even a simple logic mind. And you are full of fear. You are covered with fear, zero wisdom. Of course, I care, I wish, to be honest. And what do you do, as a teacher, as a Buddhist kind master? I don't tell them, but back of my mind, I say, please, daughter, go get married soon. Please, husband, get pregnant soon. I create small guys and send it to them, says like, please do something, because they ask me, right? So this is the problem when you be with. So right now, the statue in the temple will not talk to you. We are the representative. We are hopeless. I share my, most secret story with you. We get nervous when people ask this kind of questions. What do you think? Should I buy this? Can I trust this person? We act, we know. Let me think. Back of our mind, you stupid, yeah, I think so, All right, so anyway, this is about becoming and being. With this, so I will end our sharing tonight here. Thank you all very much. So if you have any questions, let's give about 20 minutes of Q&A. Thank you all very much. Try to become instead of being with. Anything being with is not very safe. Be it religion, be it relationship, be it whatever, you are at greater risk. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you. Any
Apakah ada
questions?
yang mau bertanya? Silakan.
As I told you, be free. Just ask. There's no wrong or right questions, right? Just clear your cloud, by sharing.
Namo Buddhaya.
Tadi di awal Rinpoche ada menyinggung tentang dia tidak begitu sering meditasi ya, lebih sering praktik. Pak bisa dijelaskan nggak?
Rinpoche, earlier you mentioned that you seldom do meditation. Being a practical person, this man would like to know the reason.
Because being meditation is resting, right? Instead of I wanted to look around and challenge myself. Buddha is always his open eyes, he's looking around, gazing on the sentient beings. Am I right? I prefer to follow his path, be active, do something for others. What do you think? It's a very provoking, what do you call it, conversations, yeah.
Ya, tapi mungkin itu setelah beliau mencapai kebuddhaannya, tapi sebelumnya melalui meditasi. Bukankah begitu?
Lord Buddha achieved his Buddhahood is by meditation, isn't it so?
Yes, he did. That's why he meditated, so we don't have to. We just follow him, no? What are you referring when you say meditate? Just sitting like this? If you ask me, do you practice? I practice a lot. I practice a lot. I studied more than 20 years of Dharma. I put into a lot of practices. But sitting quietly, resting my mind, I don't do much. For 34 years old, Buddha, right? Enlightened. After that, up to 81, he was actively teaching Dharma. Right? Similarly, once you take the role of teacher, we have to actively serve Buddha, Dharma, and sentient beings. That is also with 6 paramitas. It takes great amount of generosity, ethic, patience, deeper diligence. It needs a lot of concentrations. Then the result of meditation arises, the wisdom. Right? Yeah. Thank you. Any more questions? Questions, please? Yes.
Yeah. Namaste, Rinpoche. Yeah. I wanna asking, maybe the religion that Rinpoche says, maybe it relate to worshipping, right, Rinpoche? I think there is a wrong view in our Buddhists that believe Buddha still exists in their realms somewhere out there. And I learned from Mahayana and maybe Vajrayana, believe that there are Buddha realms in somewhere else. So maybe that views make us keep worshipping Buddha, so Buddha can help, maybe like that. So I need Rinpoche to confirm, is there a Buddha realms?
We call Pure Land.
Pure Land.
Pure Land. I mentioned this earlier. To be born into that realms, you must work hard, not only worship. That is inspiring. You are inspired by those realms. You know, for example, what do?
I do for what, Rinpoche?
What is your profession? Your work?
I work with a salesman.
Salesman.
Yes.
So you have inspiration, right? I make sales like this so I can buy car, buy home, settle my family. But you just meditating as a salesman, it will not work.
Yes.
So Buddhas are like the successful salesman. You are inspired to become like a Buddha, and you use him as your inspiration to become a Buddha at his path. So it's wrong to think and do nothing. It is good. It's good to be inspired, and we are inspired by Buddha. But have to become. Have to become. You are inspired by whatever the ideas, right? Maybe you like the margin, profit. This is your inspirations. And now you are working hard. To the extent you even don't go home. You are okay to lie a bit for your marketing, right? And I know most of the salesmen lie, right?
Yes.
So you're okay because that's your energy. That's your inspirations. So similarly, this is what it is.
Okay, understand.
Does it answer?
Yes, understand.
Yes, there are Pure Land.
Oh.
There are Buddhas in Pure Land, successfully attained and residing there, their soul. We can also go there only if we do what they did. And we are inspired by them, that's all.
Thanks, Rinpoche. Understand.
Any more questions, please? Yes, people standing up, any questions?
I want to ask why the Buddha became the Buddha, their heads.
There are 32 beautiful, divine, so-called, inhumanly beautiful, remarkable marks in Buddha,
marks in Buddha.
and 80 minor beautiful sign. So this is one of enlightened being sign. Not only him, all the Buddha has
All
it.
the Buddha has
Yes.
it. Thank
It's
you.
like, for example, I use a very simple way. In the army, when you become general, you have a lot of things.
Yes, yes, yes.
Is a divine qualities of enlightenment. Even the hair here,
Yeah.
right, and all the beautiful marks. We call it beautiful marks of the enlightened beings.
Enlighten me. Thank you, Rinpoche.
Very good. Yes, please. More questions.
Namo Buddhaya, selamat malam. Yang ingin saya tanyakan, saya pernah membaca ya, bahwasanya di akhir perjalanan hidup kita, alam pikiran kita yang menentukan ke mana kita akan dilahirkan kembali. Apakah itu betul? Kalau menurut saya, kalau setelah kita berbuat begitu banyak dosa, terus pada akhirnya kita, Amitabha, saya bertobat. Langsung jadi ke alam nirwana, apakah itu betul?
Rinpoche, the question is that this lady, had ever read somewhere that the final thoughts of a human being, when he or she is approaching death, will determine in what realm he or she will be reborn. So the question is, this kind of theory seems like to be unfair. Suppose if the person during his lifetime has been doing so much bad deeds, it will be erased just in a second by his final thought. What is your thought or your opinion about this?
Final thought is not the, they are similar to that, but not the thought. Is towards the end of life experience. Because karma, every action, every karma can rebirth. So I'm a very bad, sinful person. Entire life I have been a terrible person. Now I'm bedridden. right? I know I will die. I fear so much. And finally, I tell my son, son, from my saving, I want this to be for that charity, because I regret it so much of whatever I have done. You know, it could be a one word that person really say and do that actions. Or he may say that, but maybe even his son did not do that, because son is another terrible person too. Why should I give your money to someone else after you die? That rightly belongs to me. But father said that, right? So, but pure intention, as I mentioned during the practice, intention is there, and he created good karma in a couple of minutes before he died. That thought, regret, thought, fear will help him to rebirth, to use that karma immediately. It's like emergency, you know. But it has to be heartfelt. But doesn't mean that all the karma that he had, is disappeared. We don't mean that. You know, the verdict of that karma will be later. So that's why in the Abhidharma it's mentioned, most severe karma will come first. That is also depends on. If it's the really, really major bad karma, it's done, the person has to experience that karma first. Then the second is whatever the major karma, good karma and bad karma, whatever karma he has more, that is to be experienced, second. And the third one is, as mentioned, closer to the death, whatever good and bad he has done. And the other one is whatever the habits that you have, that good habit or bad habit you have, you know. So it's the good karma and bad karma almost same, right? Otherwise, whatever the karma you have done in sequence, it will come in the list, you know. So this is how it is. Can we escape karma? No. But can we arrange karma? Yes. This is why we call exhaustion karma. In the Dharma, we teach how to rearrange the karma. You know, I share a story of the Buddha. It's a very popular Buddha story, right? There was a time Buddha experienced really severe headache. I don't remember, it was Ananda or Shariputra asked, why you have having headache, because you are enlightened Buddha. Buddha said, oh, I'm enlightened, but I still have my karma, unfinished karma. Buddha said, one of life, we are born by the sea, and entire village there used to survive on fishing. I was a little boy when they caught a huge fish one day, and the fish, being very huge, struggled to die, and I saw the huge fish struggling. As a little innocent kid, I laugh at fish struggling in this sand. And the fish cannot speak, but there's awareness. So fish made that aspiration, wish. May I return to take my karma, revenge on those people who unnecessarily tortured me. Many lives later, you know, so during Buddha's time, all the villagers born with the Buddha in the Satya kingdom, and then the fish and all the other fishes were born as another neighboring kingdom. Unnecessarily, because of the unfinished karma, those people from the other kingdom attacked the Satya kingdom and killed 500 of armies, you know. And then Buddha said, today, if I'm not a Buddha, I'll be the general to go for war when they attack us, and I'll be killed with my 500 army. He says, today, since I follow the spiritual path, I still suffer headache. That's called rearranging the karma. Instead of dying, so you become sick. So this is why there are many stories of similar looking at the karma. There was a story of little monk and the older monk. Have you heard of that? There was a time the novice monk and the older monk was walking, and suddenly the stone, the rock fell down and injured the senior teacher's toe. And then when the novice monk looked, it was the monkey that was playing and, accidentally rolled down the bottle, the stone, right, the rock. And the monk was so angry at the monkey, saying, the monkey hurt my teacher. And as a caring young monk, he wanted to, attack the monkey. And the teacher said, no, it's a blessing, he says. My disciple, it could be the entire mountain earthquake, we both die under the ground. It could be your head that is injured. He says, it's very minor. It's just a little injury on the toe. He says, consider this as a blessing, he said. So in the Dharma, when we see different sufferings, we call it exhausting our karma and arranging of the karma. So we cannot escape karma, but we can arrange karma. So this one is arranging towards the death. So in Himalaya, people are very mischievous. Towards the after 60s, we consider old. I'm sorry, those are in 60s. After 60s, they will reduce the layman's activity. They will do more of Dharma work, building pagoda, going to the monastery stay, and they will contemplate on all the things they have done when they were younger, such as working in a paddy field, torturing animals, They will regret, and that's why if you've been to Himalaya or watch on YouTube, you will see old lady with the mala and the prayer wheel, old man with the rosary. So this is towards the end, they're trying to rearrange the karma. And also they can come back again as a human being to do more. So that's why the teacher and they make aspiration. May you continue in your next life to have a quality of life. Sorry, the answer is long. That's always the case with me, right? Okay, one last questions. Any questions? Yes, please. Okay, two more questions. Yes.
Terima
Namo
kasih,
Buddhaya,
Rinpoche.
Terima kasih.
Saya ingin bertanya tentang kata Buddha. Kata Buddha itu apakah kata kerja, benda atau sifat, atau bagaimana kata itu, Rinpoche? Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Rinpoche, the question is regarding the terminology of Buddha. Is it a verb, or is it a noun, or is it an adjective?
Well, it can be, for the enlightened beings, is a noun. It's definitely, is a verb. And as we say, this is something that we must become. All right? So once we have enlightened, that can be a title as a noun. Yeah. And then
Namo Buddhaya Rinpoche, saya ingin bertanya, tentang bagaimana cara kita bermeditasi dengan menggunakan mantra medisin Buddha, di mana tentunya kita mulai dari pikiran. Saya meminta saran kepada Rinpoche agar saya bisa memulai latihan tersebut. Terima kasih.
Rinpoche, the question is, how do we utilize the Maha Mantra of Pekanji as a tools for meditation?
For
Meditation.
meditations. Well, did you attend the retreat? So I think the whole 2 days I have been guiding it is a guided meditation. In Vajrayana, there is hardly any puja. In Vajrayana, everything is meditation, practice. We call it practice. Sadhana is an actualization. Number one, we all have the Buddha nature. A. B. How to become a Buddha is using another Buddha as inspiration and aspiration by contemplating, invoking the energy, focusing, exercising love and compassion, stop all the other negative emotions, and the nature of the Guru Bekhanze. We merge our unenlightened mind. Recharge is like always share is like a battery in the phone and the power. Enlightened beings are the source of power. We are like a phone, and we use teaching of the Dharma as a cable to charge ourselves through them, and you become sustainable. So it's a actualization. And it can be simple as Om Mani Padme Hum. Any mantra. It can be religious as well. How does those mantras become religion? It's when you worship, for example, Koinin in Chinese tradition, or Amitabha. We chant too much out of fear. It's not the really Amitabha or Avalokiteshvara helping. It's those protector. And we make offerings to them. So it's just, and the Himalaya, actually Himalaya in Chinese tradition too. When you visit Chinese temple, we have Amitabha, Avalokiteshvara, and Vajapani as the main statue, as a source of spiritual. But at the entrance, we have the four kings, right? Actually, these are the ones who help us temporarily. So when you become the disciple of Amitabha, for example, those four kings help us. In Theravada tradition, when we become the disciple of the Buddha, the four-faced Buddha, the king Indra and Brahma help us. When you sick, when you ask for the temporary help and things like that. Otherwise, everything is actualization and transformations through practice. Yeah. So it's called guided meditations. Actually, in the Vajrayana, we call it stage of development. All these mantra recitations, and which we popularly call as those puja, is called stage of development. In the stage of developing the Buddha's mind. By Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Hum. Recite Om Mani Padme Hum, compassion. We develop. We are in the stage of developing. Eventually, the second stage is a stage of accomplishment. This is also, only in Vajrayana we use that term, especially in the tradition of, actually, more extensively in the Nyingma tradition. A stage of development to Buddha's nature. Eventually, accomplishment, accomplishing it. So all the old lady people in Himalaya, as a symbolic, they recite this Om Mani Padme Hum in next life, so they can be born as a monk, nun to practice. So that's why we said even Chinese recite Amitabha, So old people will just go Amitabha, Amitabha, after they retired, they wish possible with the compassion from Amitabha can be born into Pure Land. If you do it properly, again it takes a lot of other elements. Or at least you are born as a human being, so you connect with the Dharma again. If you ask me, all people in olden days just religiously be with the Buddha, the gentleman was asking, Amitabha, Amitabha, what happened? Technically, eventually they can, but not this life. Because this life you are just inspired and you make aspiration. Eventually, through the merit of your own devotion and then those so-called prayers and the wish from teachers, eventually you will lead on the path. But we must practice and able to achieve that through exercise of loving kindness and the practice of Buddha Dharma. All right, I guess this is the end of our sharing of Know It Better. Hopefully it was entertaining, and thank you for being patient with us. I see many of you from retreat, so if you are on Sojong, it's a good idea to distract ourselves. All right, so thank you all very much.
Baik, thank you Rinpoche for the sharing. Baik, Bapak Ibu, demikian untuk sharing Dharma pada malam hari yang berbahagia ini. Tentunya juga semoga sharing Dharma ini menjadi satu langkah ke depan bagi kita untuk terus semangat praktik Dharma, sehingga kita bisa menjadi umat Buddha yang bukan hanya sekadar umat Buddha yang cung-cung cep saja kalau istilah orang Medan. Ya, baik, semoga ini bermanfaat. Sekali lagi, thank you Rinpoche for sharing today. Kita boleh berdiri sambil beranjari, kita akan mengundang untuk Rinpoche untuk kembali ke foto dulu ya Bu ya. Oke. Kalau gitu kita foto bersama dulu. Panitia boleh dibantu kira-kira bagaimana sistemnya? Oh, Rinpoche put. Oh. Coba panitia, fotografer. Ya. Boleh kasih tahu yang kamera mana ya, jadi biar bisa melihat yang sana. Oke. Oke, thank you Rinpoche. Ya, thank you Rinpoche. Kita tetap berdiri ya sambil beranjali, kita tunggu sampai Rinpoche meninggalkan ruangan auditorium ini. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu, Namo Sanghyang Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. Randa samunga de